Hi guys, it's Wade here with your Thursday Spot on Pagan Perspective, and this week we're discussing evocation and invocation. Okay, so the topic is basically covering quite a variety of things. Like, of course, I'm going to explain to you what each are, just in case you don't have a clue as to what they are, and the difference between the two, and what they can be used for and what I use them for. So first off, you have invocation, and that is basically like possession. Invocation is basically things like when you call a spirit or a being into yourself and allow yourself to be given up to the energy of that spirit. So these things happen in such rites as the charge of the goddess, I suppose, would be an invocation, where the high priestess kind of invites the goddess inside her to speak through her. So that's basically an invocation. It's also classed under things like, of course, like I said, possession, which would be when you ask a spirit to come inside your body and talk through your body. So it really ranges on the different kinds of invocation that you can be doing, and it doesn't obviously come without any rules. Of course, you need to abide by different things to keep yourself safe. Of course, from a Wiccan perspective, well, not just necessarily Wiccan, there's a lot of other faiths that do would like you to cast a circle. And for those of you wondering why is it always a circle, that is because a circle, what it's meant to do is it creates a sphere. It creates a 3D sphere of energy, which basically protects you in a bubble. So it's creating a bubble. There was a question asked on YouTube somewhere else about why isn't it a square, why isn't it a triangle, and that is simply because a circle is a shape which can rebound energy from each angle. There's no points where things can get energy can get sucked into, stored in like a dark corner. Do you get what I mean? It kind, because energy obviously rebounds off surfaces. Energy has to be thought in a similar way. So therefore, circular energy, it just works better as a shape. For that reason. So it is a thought out shape, and there is a reason why circles are always used as well. I mean, for example, in Sikh culture as well, the circle represents no beginning and no end. If you have something like a square, you have got that end join. Now, of course, when you're drawing it, there's going to be a join, but it is kind of a seamless energy all the way through. So I just feel like that is my explanation for that, because I know someone was asking about that. On top of that, yeah, back to invocation. Invocation is basically, yeah, like I said, possession, and you can do it for many different things. You can do it for invoking the god and the goddess. Mostly that is used within coven work. So if you're solitary and you do wish to do that, again, it's all down to your own path. So I can't really say what to do and what not to do. I personally wouldn't invoke. Well, I personally don't invoke anyway, simply because, one, I'm not at the stage in my path where I feel like I should be doing that, and two, I'm not sure how I feel on the subject of invocation. And I know a lot of you will be like, oh my god, what is Wade going on about? But I'm not really sure how in depth I want to be meddling with things, and I'm not sure. I'm just not sure on invocation to a degree when you're dealing with deities, obviously. Invocation on the subject of possession, spirit possession, I've actually been there for, I'm not sure if it's just the one, I think there was probably 2 instances of possession, I'm not sure. There was one that I remember specifically, and it was basically, we weren't doing a Ouija board, we were doing a seance, and how many people class this as invocation will depend on who you are. So I class it as an invocation because we did call in the spirit, and then obviously we felt different things. Well, then is it an invocation? I'm not sure. Well, I'd say it was we summoned it, so we didn't evoke, but we also invoked. So first off, as well, actually, I want to mention the fact that while we was in this, I was with 3 trained mediums, so it wasn't me on my own. For those of you who are like, oh my gosh, Wade, you've been doing it for only 6 years. There were trained mediums there who have over 100 years experience between a lot of them. So yeah, I was with them, and I felt a really hard pounding in my stomach, and then it turns out that the spirit was actually died of a heart attack. And pounding in my stomach, pounding in my heart, and I couldn't breathe. And then obviously, one of the mediums was like, yeah, that's because the lady died of a heart attack. And I was like, oh, but that isn't the main part. The main part is then that the medium sat to the left of me actually took on the spirit and yeah, it was quite scary, and I'm kind of scaring myself a bit now, but yeah, she took on the spirit, and she started talking through, and she was talking to us, and then I think it switched to the one on the other side or something happened, and oh, it was horrible, but, well, it was horrible, it was interesting, so I'm not really sure my views on it. I think that's kind of scared me a little bit into invocation, but I've always loved things to do with spirit work and stuff, and I think a lot of people see things like that as very negative, and they see them as scary, which I do scare myself, but I scare myself at the possibility of the when you don't recognise something is there, and then it shows itself as presence so realistically. It is a frightening thing. It is frightening. I think it's frightening to anyone, the fear of the unknown. So, so it did scare me to death. But that's why you need to take precautions, because there's things like that that can they can get out of control. Because she did then faint, which was not a good thing at all. Obviously, obviously there were people that were first aid trained, so we were all right. But they are very dangerous. So anybody thinking of doing an invocation who isn't one, a high priestess or a high priest, needs to first, obviously, if they've got the knowledge, if you've got the knowledge, that's fine. The thing is, it's just about knowing what you're doing, and I don't want to make this video and people out there thinking, oh, it's going to be fine, he's just going off on one. There are things you need to know, and when you come into doing things within the craft that seem exciting at first, you have to remind yourself that these things are they can be dangerous, and a lot of you, and I didn't realise how dangerous things can be, simply because they're a bit of something that a lot of people undermine. So when you do get involved, make sure you immerse yourself in the fact that there are rules to everything, and you need to take precautions with everything, because that's very important. On top, as well as the question was asked about invocation and invocation, we have a list of things they asked about, which were, I've got my list here, gods, spirits and angels. Now, I don't believe in angels. It's totally up to you whether you believe in angels. I can't really talk about invocation of angels, simply because I just do not know about it. So so yeah, no angels. The only thing that I don't even believe in fairies, so the only thing should I have said that? I just killed one. No, what was I on about? Yeah, so I just work with spirits and the god and goddess, and they're my beliefs. So the next topic is evocation. Now, evocation, where you have invocation. Invocation is possession. Evocation is the calling. Now, a lot of people summon, which when I was doing my advanced Wicca class, I mean, I never really did much of evocation or invocation previous to doing the advanced Wicca course that I did, and the lovely lady called Sue taught me on that, and she was fantastic. She taught me a lot that I know now, and one of the main things that she always made sure she drilled into our heads was the fact that you do not summon. The thing is, when you summon something, it's kind of, one, disrespectful, two, well, first, because it's kind of, if you're summoning someone, you're kind of making them your slave, which is really rude to be doing that to someone who you see as, well, something that you see as a higher power. So one, it's probably not going to work, and two, it's incredibly rude and disrespectful, and two, summoning will anger, so you don't want to be doing that. So no summoning, please. Obviously, if you're from a different faith, summoning may be what you do. My perspective is summoning isn't right, because I don't summon people to come and talk to me. I don't summon people to do things for me. So I'm definitely not gonna summon the higher power to come and aid me in something. You ask, and you ask politely, and you make sure always that you word yourself correctly. Make sure you jot down what you're going to say beforehand, because if you say something wrong, I said that really weird then, if you say something wrong, you're going to end up effing it up, so you don't want to do that. So make sure you write down everything before you do any evocation or invocations, because if there's any implications there, you're going to have to work it out so you don't get the side effects of it. Wording is very important, especially with spell work as well, simply because you're kind of feeding, yes, off an energy and off a thought pattern, but you're also feeding off a verbal energy as well. So you kind of want them to all be thought out and prepared. just so you don't have little mess ups anyway. So yeah, back to evocation. So what I evoke is, of course, the traditional thing in Wicca, which is the elements and the god and the goddess. Now, of course, like I say, you can invoke the god and goddess, but I choose to just evoke, so call them, simply because I ask for aid. I don't want to summon something inside me, because I'm not sure, I just don't really want to be messing with that right now. I just don't feel like I have the knowledge, for one, and two, it kind of scares me, the fact that that could happen. And I know people are going to leave comments going, you'll be fine, you would be fine if you know what you're doing, but still at the end of the day I'd rather not, because I just don't feel like, yes, I've got quite a while of working the craft, but the thing is, I don't think I'd be comfortable until I've actually started working with a group of people. And I think invocation, especially for the god and goddess, is something that should be done within a group of people, just in case something does go wrong, because it does drain you incredibly. And if you was to get drained to the point where you needed medical help and you was on your own, I just think that's a scary thought. So I don't really want that anyway. So I don't personally suggest that anybody on their own invokes anything. It's just, I just don't think it's safe. So that's just a word of caution to anybody out there, because I know that there are quite a lot of beginners that watch these videos. Well, obviously kind of looking at things. I mean, you get your people, there's some of you out there who are looking for our perspective and kind of see how we weigh up together, but there's also a lot of beginners out there who are looking at videos, and I just want to mention that, just to be careful what you're doing within the craft, because yeah, it's fun and yeah, it's brilliant, but there's also things you have to watch out for. So yeah, so I just evoke the elements, and I evoke the god and goddess, and that's simply just the hail chants. You can design your own. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing. You basically just go around your circle, calling each of the elements in to aid you in your circle, and then you ask for the god and goddess. But like I say, ask and do not summon. So that really sums up what I've got to say this week. I haven't got much to share on the subject, because I haven't really looked into how other people do it, so I can't really say Scott Cunningham did this, etc., because I haven't really looked in. What I haven't done in Wicca yet is I haven't studied other people's way of doing it, because I'm very comfortable in the way that I do it. So I'd rather not be too influenced. Obviously a bit of influence is good, but I don't want to be too influenced what other people have done, because then I feel like I'll be a bit too samey, and I just feel like I'm doing something wrong, and I've been doing something wrong. So I'm comfortable with what I do now, which is basically evoke with my own chants, with a bit of things that I've found here and there, but there is I can't really give you a reason as to why I do that, and a backup history as to why I wrote it a certain way, because one, it's very personal, and two, it's just what's comfortable for me. And a lot of people, their chants are what they do, and that's what makes it personal to them. And it's not like I'm revealing some big secret here, but that's why I don't really have much to say this week, because on top of all of that, on top of all of that, everything I do is just what everybody else has done. So one, invocation is kind of possession. Some basically when you get something inside you, a spirit or a deity, and I suggest that you don't do that if you're solitary, simply because it's very dangerous and very draining. If you choose to do it and you think I'm talking a load of BS, then that's fine, that's up to you. It's totally down to what you choose to do within the craft, but I personally don't think it's very safe to do it on your own, especially if you haven't done it before. So invocation, there you go. Evocation is a calling, so you're calling them in. So you call the elements into your circle, you call the deity into your circle, and you do not summon. You do not ever summon, because that's rude and disrespectful. So I'm Wade Rowan, and this was my week on Pagan Perspective. And also I just want to mention that the Dancing Rabbit interview for my radio station, Witchcast Radio, is now up on my channel, which is Wade Rowan, that's my channel, and you can go over it. It's the first, I think it's the newest video. So that's for anybody interested in the Dancing Rabbit interview that we had about his book, The Way of the Horned God, and he also told us a lot of exclusives on his new book. So thank you so much for Dancing Rabbit to come on the show. And also anybody who's messaged me or left comments on my last video, I have been reading them. It's just obviously with the situation with my computer right now, it's barely letting me upload videos. So I will get round to replying to you all. Thank you everybody who gave me loads of support on last week's video, and also found it rather humorous. So thank you, and I hope you all have a fantastic week. So bless you be, and peace out.